get comfortable with Matrix, love Matrix. We all set? Love Matrix compared to the other sessions. I mean, the other MLSs. It has a lot of really cool features, and you're going to see them today. All right, let's get into the system. When you guys first log into the system, you're going to see your home page. This is what you're going to see. Yours isn't going to look exactly like this because it's totally configurable. So if I want to put this gadget over here or move this one up, I can set up my home page to look however I want. Now keep in mind, however you leave your home page, that's the way it's going to look on any device that you log in on. So you may want to put your more important gadgets up at the top. So from your smaller devices, you'll see those without having to scroll. In addition to moving your gadgets, if there's one that's taking up too much space, you can minimize it. So just the headers there, it's not taking up so much room. You can always re-maximize it. If there's a gadget that you don't use, like for example, I'm the buyer's agent, so I don't have any listings, so I don't want that gadget on my screen at all. I can come up here, I can throw it away. It's gone. If you lose one of your gadgets because you accidentally threw it away, it's not thrown away forever. It's right here under the additional. If you maximize the additional, there's my listings. I can pull them right back out, put them on my screen, and now they'll be there going forward from any device until I remove it again. The only gadget that's not configurable is this one up here in the top left, the news and alerts. From time to time when you log into the system, you're going to have a message pop up. And initially, it's going to have two buttons at the bottom. I've read this, or I'll read this later. If you say I read this later, it'll come back and remind you when you go to the home page you haven't looked at it yet. After you've read it, you hit close. It goes back up in the side there. It'll be there for a couple weeks if you need to refer to it, and then it'll fall off. How many of you use the hot sheet? Okay, usually it's about half the room. And you know, it's the strangest thing. Up north, people really use the hot sheet. Down south, not so much. And I can't figure out why the difference, but it seems geographical. Huh?
Are you saying we're south?
No, I'm saying you're north. I'm saying you're north because almost, you know, over half of you are using it. If I ask that question in Dallas or something else, there may be 3 or 4 hands that go up. And I don't know why, but just, you know, just something interesting. Your hot sheet's completely configurable. Initially, it's going to be set to the whole MLS. But I can come down here and customize. Let's go ahead and customize my residential. And here I can set it up for whatever market I'm interested in. I can set it up for a certain community, multiple communities, a school district, waterfront properties. Someone was asking me before class, they search by waterfront. It's right down on here. I can set it up for blocks to the beach or whatever market I'm interested in. I can even come up here to the map search. Let me get rid of what I already have. And it brings up the map. So I can actually geographically design, this is the part of town that I work. This is what I want reflected on my hot sheet. And then when I save it, and if I'm looking for certain priced homes, I can add that criteria, that type of thing. When I save it, my gadget on the home page, my residential gadget, is going to represent just that market. And I can run the hot sheet for today, the last 24 hours, today since midnight, 3 days back, 7 days back. I'll run 7 days back because I don't know how much activity there is in that area. And I'll go ahead and run my residential hot sheet. It's going to show me all my new listings, my price decreases, any listings that have gone pending. It'll also show me what's sold, what's been expired, withdrawn. So I can keep an eye on that market. You know, same way you do with your current hot sheet. You have a second hot sheet. It's called Market Watch. It works exactly the same as the hot sheet. It shows you new listings, price increases, pendings, close, and it shows it in a more geographical way. You can customize that too. So if you want to customize it to be a different market, You can customize that one to be some other type of properties, or you can customize it to be the same and you'll have a graphical view to look at. You can look at the different categories individually, that type of thing. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know, before when we got a hot sheet, we saw everything.
Uh-huh.
Can we do that with this?
Yeah, that's what I just did with residential. It's showing all of the different changes all together in one sheet.
Can we separate it into sold, pending?
Yeah, now down here on your market watch,
Oh, that's where it is.
if I click just on closed, it's only going to show me the sold ones.
So
where-
what's under Market Watch is the same as what's under Hot Sheet.
Yeah, but on hot sheet, when I run my residential hot sheet, it shows all the changes together. So you can either see them all together like you were wanting to see, or you can see just the certain areas by clicking on this one.
Well, could you go over how to do all together, please?
I just did that. That's under the hot sheet here. I defined whatever market I'm interested in, and then when I run that hot sheet, they're all together. All of the new listings, the price decrease, they're all in one place.
But aren't those single families only?
Whatever you set up your criteria to be. If you want it to be the entire MLS, then don't customize it at all. If you want it to be, you also have over here, maybe this is what you're talking about. You have a cross property. The cross property would show you leases and first, well, not leases, I guess, because I don't understand your leasing here, but it would show you your residential listings, your lease listing, all of that lumped together. That's what cross property means for people that don't know what cross property is. Cross property will show you every listing that matches your criteria, no matter what property type it is.
How about the, once you customize, can you get back to the complete listing?
You want everything in the marketplace again?
Say I'm gonna look at my customized now and then, and when I'm done then, I'm gonna look at everything in the marketplace.
Yeah, you would just go back. Well, you can also add up to 10 additional hot sheets. So you could add a new hot sheet when you go into customize. You could add a new one that would be the entire MLS. You call it entire MLS.
You could have 2 or 3 hot sheets.
Yep, you can have up to 10 of them. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I use the hot sheet. I've been using it now. How do you get the Market Watch doesn't give you any more than 7 days in the back. I want all new listings for the last 2 weeks.
You'd have to use the hot sheet.
You have to use the hot sheet.
Yep, and on the hot sheet, you can go customize and tell it whatever dates you want it in
and
the
that
hot
doesn't
sheet.
work on the Market Watch.
That does not work on the
exist.
Market Watch. You use the hot sheet for that functionality. Yes, ma'am.
How do you add another personal hot sheet?
I just went down here to customize, and when you go in, you can click on add,
Okay.
and that would add one, and then you could go in and define it, the name and whatever the criteria is for that one.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I love this gadget up here, the favorite searches. Because if I come in here to favorite searches and I click on that one, for example, when I get it in the morning, it shows me everything that matches that criteria, whatever criteria I've set up. Because to put something as a favorite search, you just go in, you design whatever your criteria is, you save it as a favorite on your home page, and then when you come in the morning, you can click and see everything that matches your criteria. But what I really like about it, and I can have up to 10 of those. What I could do when I walk in first thing in the morning, I can come in here and I can click on update all. It's going to run all of those searches, and it's going to tell me how many new listings I have since the last time I looked at that search, whether it was 2 minutes ago, 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. It's going to show me all of the activity. It's only going to designate the new listings, but that's a lot of times what you're really interested in. I want to know what's new on the market, what new offerings there are. So for example, this Sussex 300 to 500 showing 0 new, because I just looked at everything that matches that, right? So that's why it's 0. But my Sussex, I haven't looked at that for like 3 days. If I click on that, it's going to show me just the new ones. So I can keep up to date on what's happening in that market. If I clicked here, it would show me everything that matches. So this closed only, I just created that this morning. So since this morning, there's been 10 new. So it keeps you abreast of the new activity that matches that search criteria. Yes, ma'am.
How do you create a favorite search?
You wait until the second half of class and you will learn. The way I conduct class is we're going to go through this home page, all the gadgets on the home page. Then we're going to go through the menu bar, all the options from the menu bar. And then we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And that's when you get to learn what you really use. You're searching, you're emailing, you're printing, you're saving searches. I find that's the best way to do it, because if I show you all that neat stuff first, and then we take a break, I'll be teaching 3 people to learn everything about the system, because the rest of you are going to go, okay, that's all I needed. And then you're going to start wanting to know how to do stuff in the system, and you're not going to know. So the way I say it, we're going to go through all the boring stuff first. I hate the first half of class because it's so repetitive and boring. But you need to know the information so you know where to look for stuff. And then we'll take a break and we'll get into the exciting stuff. So we'll end on a high note. Everybody will be excited when they walk out the door. But trust me, don't sneak out at break, because the stuff in the second half, there's a lot of really cool stuff that you're going to see in Matrix that you didn't have in the other system. So stick with me. Yes, ma'am.
Or if I want to add communities on my hot sheet, I go to hot sheet residential, go down to customize, it pulls up the screen, click on whatever I want to add.
Yep.
Now it seems pretty full horizontally right now on the hot sheet. It'll just keep adding things on.
Sure will. Now, if you go to print it, it's going to print on more than one page, depending on how much you add. But yeah.
Can you delete some of the ones that are currently there? If you know, like customize, we can add. Can we also delete?
Sure.
If I don't want the listing office or
And you know when you're going to find out about how to do that?
this afternoon.
The second half of the class. Yep. So you're going to have to stick with me, guys. This next gadget, my stats. I'm going to show you my stats in 5 minutes or so, but I just want you to know this gadget you have the ability to save a statistic to your home page, so that anytime you want, you can go and click on it and get up to the minute real-time results for your statistics. And the stats are really cool, and we're going to go through that in about 5 minutes. I think you get a lot of uses out of the stats, whether you're a statistician or not. I think you'll get a lot of use out of the stats. The next gadget, my carts. You have a cart for yourself, and you have a cart for every one of your contacts. And what a cart is simply is a repository of listings, just some listings that you've stuck in the cart. Your client doesn't know anything about the cart. The cart is for you to use to tie listings to an agent for whatever you want. Some examples of what you can use it for is if you're working on a search or a CMA or something, and you're really in-depth working, and you come across this listing, ooh, that might be really good for another one of my contacts. You can quickly take that listing, put it in their cart, and keep doing what you're doing. And when you're done, you can refer to that cart and research the listing, whatever you need to do. Another real interesting thing people are doing with carts is every time they print out driving directions, every time they take a client to see properties, they put those properties in their cart, that client's cart. And then 3 weeks, a month later, you can sit down with your client, you can go, okay, here's the 20 properties we've looked at. Look how many of them are off the market now. Because once you put something in a cart, it's going to stay there till you remove it. So you're going to have all of them in there. So hopefully you can spur them to making a quicker decision, because they're seeing they're missing opportunities on the houses that they liked. Whatever reason you can think of, you can use the carts for, and it's just a way to tie listings to a certain client for whatever reason you want to. And again, your client knows nothing about the cart. That is strictly for you. If you want them to know what's in their cart, you can go to their cart, you can select them all and email them to them, but otherwise they won't know what's in the cart. The next gadget is pretty self-explanatory. It's your inventory. So if I had active listings, this would be a link. I could click on it and it would show me my active listings. Quick way to get to your listings in the different categories. and your office listings. Additional, we talked about, that's just where anything that you throw away goes so you can get it back. Now, a lot of these a lot of these gadgets are going to be empty when you first go into the system. For example, my favorite searches will be empty because you haven't saved anything as a favor. Your stats are going to be empty. Your carts are not going to show because you haven't saved anything to anybody's cart yet. So those are going to be empty when you first start using the system. The same with the recent used contacts. That's going to be empty because you haven't done anything for any of your contacts yet. What the system does, if you do something for a contact, you send them an email, you save a search, you add information to their contact record, the system's automatically going to put them up in your recent used contacts. The system assumes if you're doing something with the contact, you're probably going to do something else. You're actively working with that person. So it's going to put a quick link there to that contact. You can click on it and see their contact details, all the information about that contact. I could always come up here to My Matrix Contacts, look at my list of 200-300 contacts, go find Jessica Smith, for example, click on her name and I can see her details. It just puts a quick link up here for you to quickly get to the ones that you're really working with. This next gadget is going to be empty also. It's recent portal visitors. Your clients, until you send them an email, until you do something, they don't know they have a portal. Probably half of you in the room don't know who doesn't know what a portal is? About half of you in the room don't even know what a portal is. What a portal is it's your client's view of the information that you've shared with them. The portal is your client view of the data. So the contacts that you see in your recent portal visitors are the ones that are actively looking at what you've shared with them. The people that are really looking for a house. And it's going to tell you who's been to their portal. It's going to tell you when they've been to their portal. If they saved any favorites, possibilities, it's going to let you know, and you can click on that link and see what they are. If they have left you any notes, you'll have a little envelope there. You can click on it and you can see the note that they put on a listing. You can respond to it right from there to keep the communication going back and forth with them. Now we're going to talk a lot about portal throughout the session today. So I think it's important for you to know what the portal is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the portal. This is one of my contacts portals. We're now the contact. We're not the agent anymore. We're the contact, looking at the agent, what the agent has shared with me. And I think it's a fantastic tool for your clients because it puts everything in one place. For example, up here you have your direct email and reports. This is any email that you've sent them out of the system. If you've selected a couple listings and sent it to them, if you sent them driving directions, if you've sent them statistics, it's all in one place so they can refer to it. Today, in the other systems, they had to go to their primary email, find your name, click on it. That's not the email that they wanted. So they go back to their inbox and they start looking through all the other jokes and the spam and everything that comes in, find your name again, click on it till they find the right email. All they have to do now is go to their portal and they have them all right there. Easy for them to get to the information. I'm the client now. I didn't really get there. I just went in as the client.
So that'll be a link, right?
That'll be linked. When they get an email, it'll go to their inbox just like it always does. When they click on the link, it'll take them to their portal. Once they've been to their portal once, they can always bookmark it or save it on their desktop so that then without going to their email or anything, they just click on that bookmark. It'll open up their portal and they'll see everything. The next section down here, recent notes. I mentioned that your client can put notes on properties, something that they really like to remind themselves, or ask you a question. So all of the recent notes will show in this gadget. You'll see that top one, 62622, my client said that they wanted to go see it. I saw my little envelope on my recent portal visitors. I clicked on it and I went, sure, let's go see it next Saturday. I responded to it. They can see the communications there. So they see the communications going back and forth right in front of them. Like we mentioned, your client can save favorites, ones they really like, possibilities, ones that they're kind of nice, but they don't know. They can categorize them into different pockets. So anytime they want, they can click up here and look at their possibilities. And then if they like it more, they can change it to a favorite. They can reject it so it doesn't show up anymore. They can add a note, whatever they want.
So how do you actually send the first portal to the person?
Guess what? She knew right away what the answer was. After break, I'll show you all that neat stuff. See, that's why you got to stick with me to the end, guys. Yes, ma'am.
If you're communicating through this portal, is it also syncing to your Outlook?
No, ma'am.
No. so
No,
you've got
it's
it.
just inside the system. Now, if you send them an email and they respond to the email, it's going to go to your Outlook. Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming we have to set the contacts up initially, right? You'll show us how to do that.
We brought all of your contacts over from Innovia. And
Okay,
we'll
so if
talk.
They were in Innovia,
They're up here. And we'll talk about contacts when we get up to the menu bar. Now, this little gadget down here, I like this little gadget a lot. Because what it's doing is showing them their favorites, keeping them excited about their favorites. It's also showing them the current price, that type of thing. What else it's showing them, because once they put something in favorites, it stays in favorites. So this, oh man, I really like this house. And now it's sold. I missed my chance. So hopefully, again, it's going to keep them making quicker decisions on properties they really like. Now, when you give your client access to the portal, and they get access the first time you send them anything, when you give them access to the portal, you're giving them access to the MLS. See a couple people out there that are like, whoa, wait a minute here. If they have the MLS, they don't need me. You're giving them access to client-friendly information, the same type of information that they can see on Realtor.com. Once they start pulling data, they can see on another broker's website. You're sending them customer-friendly information. But this probably hasn't happened to any of you guys, but a couple people across the country have told me they've gotten a call from their client. Their client wants to see 123 Main Street. The agent goes, he pulls it up in the MLS, and 123 Main Street sold a month ago. But the client tells them, oh no, you're wrong. I'm on Zillow. It's for sale. Oh, that has happened to some of you? Like every day?
Yeah.
That's how you sell the portal to your clients. You tell them, search on my portal and you'll be seeing live data. If a listing sold last night, they run a search, they're not going to see it. If they look at a listing, that listing changed prices 2 minutes ago, when they look at that listing, they're seeing the current price. What they're not seeing is all those ads that are on the other websites for other realtors. They're only seeing your information. So if they have a question, who do you think they're going to call? You.
This is only the houses in their parameters,
This is anything in the MLS.
everything.
Everything active, everything that's available in the MLS. And that comes to my next point. When they're on there doing searches, if they find it, oh, this is a little nice area here. It's not the one that my agent's looking at, but I kind of like this area. They can save their own search so they can keep on top of it the same way they can on other websites. But you, the agent, will know in their contact record that they are interested in another area, what other listings are looking at. You'll know all that.
So we'll be able to see their saved searches?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What will the screen look like to them?
This is it.
Oh,
This is their portal. We are the client.
Got it.
So here's where they can start a new search. Here's where they can look at the searches that they've set up. Under auto searches, These are the searches that the agent has set up. So they can click on that search at any time and get up to the minute results, see what's available that matches their criteria right now. Now, when they go to their email, when they get an email from you and they click on it, the system's automatically going to open their portal like this, showing them what was included in that email, not their dashboard, everything from that email. They can look at the data different ways. They can come up here and let's say, you know, I like this display. This is what way I like to see it when I'm on my phone, the client, when the client's on their phone. But on their desktop, they want a different display. This one I think is really cool, the split map with details, because it's showing them information on the listings. And it's also showing them where the listings are on the map. And if they hover over any of them, it's going to show them where that listing's located. So it's a really nice view if they're on their desktop and they can see everything. This wouldn't be a great view for the phone because they'd have to scroll up and down. All of the details have, like this one here you see is a favorite because they marked it as a favorite. Right from here or any of the displays, they can say, oh, this one's kind of nice. I like that one. Or, oh, I want to go see this one. So they can type in a message here. I could type, when can we see this one? And then it can add that note. Now, when we go back in as the agent, you'll see, I know what that client just did. It's going to let me know. There have all these different kind of displays. If they want the full display, they can switch to the full display. Oh, that's what I'm on. They want a thumbnail, or they want a summary, or they want to see the full display. They can see all the different reports. So you don't have to worry about sending them a certain report because they have access to all of them. And again, whatever report they're looking at on a given device, the next time they go to the portal on that device, the system's going to remember this is the view they want to see. Okay? And like I said, they all have the ability right from the display to say favorites, possibilities, rejects, or whatever. Okay, now this is very important. So everybody's looking at me. Nobody's taking notes. You're all listening. Very important. Every email that you send out of Matrix goes to a portal, whether they're a client or not. If you're just emailing a couple listings to someone you're talking on the phone, they're going to see those listings in the portal. If they're a contact in your contact database, they're going to have all the functionality we just talked about. The dashboard where everything's organized. They can run their own searches, save favorites, possibilities. A client can do all of that stuff. If it's just somebody you're emailing a couple listings to, all they'll be able to do is look at those listings with all those different reports. Everybody with me on that? Okay.
So it's probably later today, but if we talk to somebody on the phone, we send them an email today with all those things in it. The portal is generated kind of, sort of, but not as a contact. We can go back in that and make them a contact?
Absolutely. Right from sending them an email, right from saving a search, you'll have a link there. Right then and there, you can add them as a contact, and then when they get it, they'll have the full functionality. And that was just a little cheating there that I gave you information that you're going to learn later. But there's a lot of other stuff. Don't sneak out a break. All right. Let's go back in as the agent now. We were just the client, looking at what the client sees. Now we're back to being the agent. And if I refresh my screen, oh, using a different computer. There we go. Refresh my screen. You can see now the client just left a possibility. The client just left a note. So I can go to that note. I could type in a response. Then they would see it on their side. So you have communication, and it tells you as soon as you look at your home page what's going on. All right, this next gadget, concierge. This is a new optional feature that you have when you're saving an auto notification search. We all know how auto notification works, right? You go in, you put in your client's criteria. They want to live in this part of town. They want this many bedrooms. They can afford to pay this much. You put that information in, you save it as an auto email, and now the system just notifies them of any changes, kind of like your assistant. It's working for you. That's auto notification. What concierge does, it's an optional feature while saving an auto email search. For example, my contact told me, they made it very, very, very clear to me. They think the ugliest thing they've ever seen in their life is a house with a blue roof. Now, setting up auto notification, as far as I know, you don't have a field in your MLS color of roof, right? So you set up their criteria, you set up auto notification. If a house happens to have a blue roof, they're going to get that house. And they're going to think you pay no attention to them because they made it clear to you they don't like a blue house. In a case like that, you have the option, if you want to put yourself in the middle of all that. So the system's going to, if you put it in concierge mode, the system's going to constantly run that search. And every time it finds any matches, it's going to notify you, the agent, and give you the ability to look at that listing, see if it has a blue roof. If it does, you can reject it. Your client will never see it. If it doesn't, you can accept it and forward it on to your client. Now you may, and a blue roof's a bad example, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. For some reason, you want to look at the listings and determine if you want your client to see them or not. If you don't want to use it, don't set any up in concierge mode. If you don't have any searches set up in concierge mode, you won't have this gadget. So any of you that are on your computer right now, if you're going, well, I don't have a concierge gadget, that's why you don't have anything set up in concierge. As soon as you set up at least one search in concierge mode, that gadget will whoop, just appear to you. If you don't use it, you'll never have it. If you have 25 auto emails, but only 1 or 2 of them set up in concierge, you'll have that gadget.
So concierge is not there?
Concierge is not on your screen right now because you don't have any searches set up as concierge. I've got a search set up as concierge, so you see the gadget there.
So how do you set it up?
How does she set it up?
After break.
She stays till the second half of class. See, nobody's going to leave at break time. And if they do, keep in mind who it is because they won't know how to do all the neat stuff. So you have an advantage over them. All right, the next and last gadget is external links. That's just some links that the board put out there. So you can quickly click on it and go to realtor.com or whatever. All right, let's move up to the menu bar. Everything from here up is the menu bar. The menu bar is always on the top of your screen while you're in Matrix, no matter on what part of the application you are in. This part down here will change. Right now we're on the home page, so it's showing them the home page. First link is search. This is where you go to do any type of search, whether it be a property search, or you're searching for an agent, or an office phone number or address. Or if I click on more, this is also where your history, your open house type searches are. So when you think of search, think of this is where I go to search for anything. We're going to skip over search because that's where all the fun stuff is. So after break, we'll talk about search. Stats. I was telling you how great I think. Yes, ma'am.
Under search, you have 2 residentials there.
That won't happen to you anymore. Well, we're going to take away. Don't worry about it. You'll just have residential. Stats. I think the stats in here are so powerful and there's so many uses for you guys. So I'm just going to pick out a stat here, historic medium sale price. I'm going to generate. And that quickly, it just generated that graph. This graph is showing me the last 10 year of solds over 37,000 listings, and it produced that graph that quickly. Not only does it give me the graph that shows me how the market is, it also gives me the data. So I have the actual data that was used to produce that graph. If I want to get that data out of the system, I want to put it in Excel, or I want to take it somewhere so I can do something else with it, I can export that data. And then I can open it in whatever application I want it in. And here it is in Excel, and now I could do my own statistical calculations if I want. Or I could do a graph in Excel, whatever you want. So it's easy to get the data out of the system to do what you want.
Is that just our local stuff, or you set?
This is the MLS. This is only this MLS. But you can also customize these. Let's say I don't want to see the last 10 years. Who cares? I want to see the last 5 years or the previous year. Let's do previous year. And in addition to seeing the sale price, I want to see the list price. So I can down here to advanced options. I can put a secondary statistic, and I want it to be any of these. I can put the days on market in there, the number of active listings. Anything I want, I can add to the graph. I want to add the list price median, and then I want to generate. So now it's showing me, oh, I didn't want that. I don't want the columns. I want a smooth line. I can generate, and there I have my sold price, and I have my list price on one graph. If I have this customized and it's something I want to look at all the time, I can come up here to save, and I can save it so that it's right here. I can run it anytime. If I run it a lot and I want it on my home page, remember that gadget stats on the home page? I can come down here and say, also put this on my home page, so I can run it right from there.
How do you customize that for community?
Good question. And you don't have to wait till after break, because that's my next thing to talk about. I've been showing you stats on the entire MLS. Who cares about the entire MLS, right? You're interested in a certain market. So I can come up here to search, and I can do stats on anything I want. I can do stats on a certain community. I can do stats on a certain school district, or waterfront properties, or a certain zip code, or a certain price range of homes, bedrooms of homes. I'm just going to go to the map search. I like the map search. I'm going to go here. And my client told me this is where they want to live, within 7-8 miles of Georgetown. I'm going to click on that. Now I'm going to save that as my criteria. I could also add bedrooms, certain bedroom sizes, whatever I want to do. But I can now go and regenerate that stat. And when I generate it, it's generating it on just the market that I've defined.
You didn't push save anywhere?
Now I just saved my criteria when I put it in, that little blue button. I clicked on that, that kept it. Now when I generate, it's just that part of town. So I can, you guys are seasoned agents. You know when you pull into this certain area, the prices in here are running about 400,000 and they're going up. It's a really hot area. The houses are going up in value. They're selling quick. You know that. You drive across the street into another area and you go, okay, the houses in this area run about 100,000 and it's really not desirable. Prices are actually going down. Houses aren't. You know that because you're an expert. But what happens when somebody all of a sudden says, yeah, I'm interested in a house. I want to buy a house in Dewey Beach. Is that correct? Yeah. They want to buy a house in Dewey Beach. I don't know anything about Dewey Beach. So I can come in here, I can go to the stats, run all these different stats, and become a market expert on that area. What else is cool is if my client wants to know about the area, I can go and I can generate this. And I always tell the agents, if a client wants to see this or you want to share it with your client, wait 4 or 5 hours so they think you're crunching numbers and making this pretty graph. But as you just saw, you can do it in a matter of seconds. And then you have the ability to print it or to email it. If you go to print or email, it'll ask you, do you want just the graph or do you also want the data? So there's 2 things I really like about the stats. First of all, you can educate yourself very quickly on an area you're not familiar with. The second thing is you can really give your customers a professional view of information. Even if you're not a statistician, you know, my grandson could run this. It's easy to do. Anyway, I really like the stats. I think you'll get a lot of use out of it.
How do you save it on your home page?
I've already told you, you guys got to pay attention. I'm going fast. Right up here under save, I could now save it and I could put it on my home page if I want, so I can look at it anytime. The next tab is My Matrix. My Matrix is your guts of the system, your information, your contacts, your saved searches, your configuration of how you want your matrix to be. We're going to come back to that as the last of the boring things. So you know when we get to My Matrix, it's almost time for break. The next one, Realist Tax. That's your link to CoreLogic's Realist Tax system, which is your properties tax system. If you don't already use Realist Tax or you don't know anything about it, the class does offer classes. The board does offer classes on that once a month. So you can always schedule something with that. We're not going to go through Realist today because it's exactly the same as what you had in Novia. Finance is just a bunch of financial calculators, amortization charts, estimated net proceeds, buyer's closing costs. So just some links to financial functions that you can do. Market reports are just some market reports. The reports that you see here are going to be dependent on your access level. For example, if you're an agent, you won't have the office production. That's for the office managers, the brokers, that type of thing. But just some different reports where you can check on your production, inventory counts, that type of thing. Input. Has anyone in the room been fortunate enough to have a listing that they had to enter in Matrix? What do you think about it?
I think it's great.
It's pretty nice. The agents love Add Edit in Matrix. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to show it to you guys. We're going to go into Add New. First thing any listing maintenance is going to do is it's going to ask you what property type. Come on, do I lose my internet? Let me refresh here. Where's my refresh? Oh, where is my refresh? Oh, I lost my internet connection. You know, this happens, oh, it's a little early today. This happens every day that I've been teaching. Let's try one more time. All right, let me let the board know real quick so they can unplug the router or whatever the heck they do to make it miraculously come back. Plus it's freezing. They do this to each other. Well, people are starting to yawn because they're getting ready to hibernate because it's so cold. Oh. Oh, who's watching the movie? Somebody's watching a movie in here, and that's what slowed it down. Oh, maybe it came back. Oh, it did. It came back now. Ben was saying the whole building had lost it. All right, so the first thing any listing maintenance product's going to do is ask you what property type, because it needs to know what fields to present you with, right? So we're going to do residential. There's two different ways to start a listing. This one is going to, if it hasn't already for you guys, this is going to go away. You can fill from cross property. Let's say you had a listing and they went off the market because they didn't want to list it in the winter, but now it's summertime, they want to relist it. You can copy the information